Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Live on Main, which is neither live nor is it on Main. And today we have an author of the classical type that joins Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and Henry David Thoreau, American authors. And joining them is George Foster Leal, who is a Hopkinton native and an author of several books. The most recent is The Lost Galleons, which is set in
1715, right?
In a hurricane. How does that work? You had how many ships total?
11. First of all, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. In 1715, the largest Spanish treasure fleet ever assembled in Havana Harbor. You know, they had blue skies and calm seas, and they were heading back to Spain, King Philip, to fill up his treasury, and which had been depleted by wars. And you know, without National Weather Service or anything, they didn't know hurricanes building off the coast of Africa. They left. Their normal route was up through the Bermuda and what we call the Florida Straits. There were 11 ships. And 11 disappeared. So the lost fleet. 10 of them were found strewn all along 22 miles of the Florida coast, now known as the Treasure Coast, because people are still finding gold coins and stuff there to this day. One ship, the ship that I'm writing about, stayed out to sea, as he should have, to ride out the hurricane. And this is where historical fiction comes in. I have that ship, La Señora de la Concepcion, actually get shipwrecked on the lowest island off the coast of Georgia, off the Georgia banks. It's right on the border of Florida, but hundreds of miles to the north of where the others were found, which is why it was never found. So I have an archaeologist, researching old Spanish missions on the islands. He finds it. It's called Cumberland Island to this day. He finds it, the log of the captain, and that leads my adventurers to go follow the log and follow the trail of how he sailed his ship out of the hurricane, where that treasure ship may have gone down, and now they're looking for it. So the others we know.
And so how much of it's a historical fiction?
Correct.
So you're using historical facts, and you're making a new story with the facts that are known, but with the extension of them missing. And so
right. So I have So I have the captain of the surviving ship, or the final ship. His log up until the hurricane, up until everybody was gone. He's telling you historical facts. This is how much we had bullion, and it was, a lot of it was silver. It was called Los Platos Flota, the plate fleet, and the reason it was called was Platos means silver. So Americans call it the Lost Plate Fleet, but it was the Lost Silver Fleet, and so he's telling you all about what they had in the hold, all the actual facts, figures, who the captains are, what was happening, until the hurricane hits. And then now historical fiction comes in. He survives, a la Robinson Crusoe. He survives, he's on the island. He keeps writing in his log about what happens to him afterwards, how he tries to survive, how he tries to get off the island, whatever. And then, years later, that log is found, which leads our guys on the treasure hunt.
Well, now, from the log, do the characters in the log or on the ship, do they come alive too, and we look into the past and what their behavior is and so forth, or?
Right up until the hurricane. And so it's a good probably 30% or more of the book is really from a historical point of view, describing what happened up until the hurricane and then what happened afterwards. And then while he's on the island, and he's Spanish. English pirates are landing, and they're looking for the gold, and that was a place to stop, Cumberland Island, on the way to Florida. And we had pirates coming from New England going down and robbing the broken up shipwrecks along the Florida coast from the Spanish. So there was a lot of that's all historical fact, and that's all in the book. But
No, 1715 is
right.
coincidentally the date of incorporation of Hopkinton, Massachusetts.
Isn't that I did?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're correct. You're
Yeah.
correct.
Just celebrated its 300th, right?
Another historical fact.
Yes. So it sounds like a very exciting book. It's one of 4 in the series.
Yes, it's 4. I call them the Lost Mysteries of History series. The first one was about the lost colony of Roanoke. The second one was the lost city of Alexandria, Egypt. Third one we've all heard about, see on TV all the time. It's the lost treasure of Oak Island. And then this is the 4th one about the Lost Galleons. And it has the same set of modern day adventurers, archaeologists, skin divers looking for these lost mysteries. And every single one of them has the modern day people telling their story while they, dig through the sands of time looking for what's going on, while we have either from a log or the lost city of Alexandria. I actually had Cleopatra telling her story and what happened, and meeting Mark Antony, meeting Caesar, and everything, and before her city got swallowed up by a tidal wave. So
now these sound like adult reading. Now, when I say adult, I don't mean because of our rating or anything like that, but it sounds like would be enjoyed by adults, but maybe also, would you say high school kids?
High school, college, but adults, and I've had a few friends that have vacationing where you and I are not, in Florida this winter, and they've read the Lost Galleons while they're down there, pretty much in that same climate and whatever. They really loved it. They enjoyed it. But, I suppose you enjoy it better looking at a beautiful sunset and palm trees, reading the book. But adults definitely, and yeah, high school, as I said, I don't, not for children. It's not children's books, but
not however, you do have children's books. You've got one already in print, correct?
Correct. And that's called A Fairie Trail. And that's about, my wife and I had visited Scotland a few years ago, and we went to Loch Lomond, and there were 3 trails you could take. One was called the Fairie Trail. Well, let's go on this. It's magical up here. So we walked up through it, and they had little fairy houses stuck up in trees and little bridges and trolls coming out of bogs and all this stuff. And it's meant to bring little kids on, and then they had little poems etched into logs, and you could read all this stuff. It's kind of cute. We were there with my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, and they were having their first granddaughter at the time. I said, this would be a great little kid's book to write, kind of bring it a little to life. So I wrote my own little poems, and we have some pictures that we took while we were there and everything. And I produced it, and it's funny, most of my novels are 400 pages in the historical fiction. This was 28 pages. But I love doing it. But it's a children's book. You have to keep it short, and it's going to be fun, and I tried to make it that way. So, so that was the first one I wrote. I'm working on one now. This is about the lost sword of the Dwarf King. So a little more geared to the boys in the family, and we have a lot of great grandchildren and grandsons. So I'm working on that one now, as well as a brand new novel I'm writing. So,
well, we don't want to leave out the next, waiting for the next applause.
No,
which is actually documentary type, right? Interview style also.
That was a documentary and like a biography, a musical biography of a great little band that didn't make it really huge. But what I liked about writing that book is you're actually interviewing live characters it's hard to interview somebody from 1715.
Yeah.
So, it was nice to interview live characters and what they went through in the early music scene in Boston in the 70s and 80s and everything. And they're still out there playing today. And so when we were looking in the callback pages, and when we were looking for the name of the novel, I kept asking, Inky Fair, I kept asking him, why are you guys still out there doing it? What are you doing? What are you doing? He said, I think we're still waiting for the next applause. I just want to hear that live applause, and I want to play live. And that's a great name for the book. So,
and they do, because you're a fan. I'm a fan. I've
sure.
been a fan of this since I was 25 years old. The lead singer Inky was the lead singer, and now they swap roles as the singer, but back then he was the lead singer, and in a 5-man piece, and he and Doug, the remains of that band, plus Tom Yates, who you interviewed, they were having a comeback of Fairie Yates and Betchart.
Fairie Yates and Betchart, right?
Another band I love. So, and they've had the first of the month gig at Bill's Pizzeria
in Hopkinton
until just now with this COVID thing, which I don't want to mention. So I won't. But yeah, that was
as I said. They're still out there playing, and they're playing locally and in Hopkinton, and they still enjoy what they're doing, and all of us enjoy going and listening to them. So, really, waiting for the next applause was really focused on when they were Fairie Yates and Betchart, not the earlier bands, and not when it came down to back pages, but Fairie Yates and Betchart, and that fine album they cut, Spirits. So that was
right. I have an autograph.
Good music. Good music. You have a copy of that, right?
I have an autograph copy from then, from
wow,
a million years ago.
Yeah.
In pen. Yeah, they autographed the liner, which has all the lyrics. I think I don't know if Tom's wife did it. I'm pretty sure it was what do you call that type of print that has these it gets skinny and then it gets fat? Calligraphy. I'm pretty sure all that stuff is calligraphy.
Right.
And I know that I'm not sure what's going on with this recording. Are we still recording? Oh, thank goodness we are. So
looks like we're still alive, but not on Main Street.
Not live or on Main Street.
No.
But I want to thank George Foster Leal. He's been good enough to do this with myself and other hosts in the past. And regarding the waiting for the next applause, I'm pretty sure you could probably see that interview on YouTube. That we did. That lasted a long time that was a real live on Main. And
that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was they did a great job. So I've got a couple book covers that I'm going to put up when I do the post processing, and I want to thank you for spending time again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, and thanks so much. I appreciate it.
And what's your website? You can find any of these on Amazon, but you also have a website that people can purchase from.
It's www.georgefosterleal.com. It's pretty simple. So that's the website. You can find them there, and I'm also on Amazon and KDP, Kindle Direct. So I think I have 5 or 6 novels on that on Kindle Direct and Amazon right now. So.
Well, you do a great job, George. I do appreciate you coming on and talking about it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
And thanks to everyone for checking it out. And check out GeorgeFosterLeal.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Talk to you later. Right. Bye-bye.